Hi, I'm Matt, and welcome to my latest gaming news video. I'll be covering recent gaming news as well as some other gaming related things in this video. I'm grateful for any feedback, so if you feel the need to do so, please leave a comment below. You can also like and subscribe if you're enjoying my videos. I'm now getting some gaming news from the past week or so. The first piece of news for today is some pretty big news. The Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition is complete. This news broke too late for me to include it in last week's gaming news video, but I will cover it now. Just some background first. This acquisition has taken around 1 year and 9 months, according to IGN, and will cost Microsoft $69 billion. That's not including any legal fees, I guess, etc. But yeah, I'm guessing yeah, 69 is $1 billion is definitely a huge amount of money. And as a result of this acquisition, Microsoft slash Xbox will gain a large amount of new IP, intellectual property, gaming IP anyway, including Call of Duty, Diablo, Overwatch, World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, and more. So yeah, quite a lot of games now under the Xbox umbrella. I will also link an article, a Game Rant article in the description, which details every game now owned by Microsoft slash Xbox. But yeah, alongside Activision Blizzard King, Microsoft also owns Rare, which I believe they purchased back in 2002. So that's Banjo Kazooie, Conquer, Perfect Dark Games, among a bunch of others. Lionhead Studios, which was created Fable. Twisted Pixel Games, Mojang, so Minecraft, Ninja Theory, Undead Labs, Compulsion Games, Playground Games, In Exile Entertainment, Obsidian Entertainment, so Fallout New Vegas, The Outer Worlds, Pillars of Eternity. Then you got Double Fine, so Psychonauts and a bunch of other games, ZeniMax Media and thus Bethesda, so Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Starfield, Arcane, Dishonored, ID Software, or id Software, Doom, so Quake, and then Machine Games and Tango Gameworks. So yeah, a ton of studios are now owned by Microsoft, and thus their games are available on Xbox and to some degree PC slash Windows. Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, said in a statement on Xbox Wire, quote, "Today we start the work to bring beloved Activision, Blizzard, and King franchises to Game Pass and other platforms. We'll share more about that about when you can expect to play in the coming months. We know you're excited, and we are too." Another interesting thing Spencer touched on was multi-platform support. He said, quote, "You are the heart and soul of these franchises, and we are honored to have you as a part of our community. Whether you play on Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, PC, or mobile, you are welcome here and will remain welcome, even if Xbox isn't where you play your favorite franchise, because when everyone plays, we all win." I yeah, can't see them sticking to this forever, especially not with their biggest but big budget titles. But I could be wrong. As with Starfield, they do seem to be willing to limit their the highest budget games to Xbox and PC, however. But yeah, maybe that will change. And yeah, I do believe Microsoft and Sony signed a deal that would ensure Call of Duty games stay on PlayStation for at least the next 10 years. So yeah, that will be at least 10 years. But so yeah, in conclusion, I think it would be interesting to see what games come to Game Pass, as it yeah will be intriguing to see full price games like the like the Call of Duty and Call of Duty games and Diablo 4 come into the monthly subscription service. But yeah, I'd be much more willing to try these games on Game Pass than pay full price for them, especially as I don't intend on buying them. I don't really play Call of Duty anymore, and Diablo 4 has sort of lost my interest ever since it's been getting so much yeah, so much negative coverage. But I will, yeah, likely give them a go when they come to Game Pass. If they do, it sounds like they will eventually. And yeah, just finally before I move on, I will say I'm a bit concerned that one company has so much power, but I guess we will just have to wait and see how Microsoft and Xbox wield it in regard to Activision Blizzard games. And yeah, I guess finally I don't have to cover this acquisition every few weeks anymore, but likely in the future as things more information comes out about Game Pass and things, I might touch a bit on that briefly in a future video. But yeah, at least for now, the Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition stuff is basically over. Now for some related news, the sort of controversial, I guess, CEO of Activision Blizzard, Bobby Kotick, looks to be stepping down next year, so 2024, recent emails surfaced that revealed Kotick will continue as CEO until the end of this year. In an email, Bobby said, quote, "Phil has asked me to stay on as CEO of ABK, so Activision Blizzard King, reporting to him, and we have agreed that I will do that through the end of 2023. We both look forward to working together on a smooth integration for our team and players." Bobby Kotick has been CEO of Activision for the last 30 years, actually. It's quite a while, and more recent years have brought a number of controversies, including workplace misconduct, among other bad things. I don't think these were levelled at him directly, from what I could tell, but he was CEO during the time when these complaints were filed, and I believe these are all alleged. Just need to add that in there, just in case. According to the IGN article and originally reported by Reuters, I believe, Kotick is looking at a $390 million payout as a result of the Microsoft Activision Blizzard King acquisition. So yeah, that's a pretty huge paycheck. I guess we'll have to wait and see who replaces Bobby, or maybe Phil just take direct control. I'm not sure at this point. I don't really know how that sort of thing works. Now onto a bit more related news, I guess, as it relates to Mojang and Minecraft. Minecraft is the first individual game to sell over 300 million copies. But yeah, wow, that's a pretty impressive. Apparently 62 million of those copies were sold in the last 2.5 years as well. But yeah, I believe Minecraft is the best-selling video game of all time. For comparison, GTA 5 is in second place with 185 million sales, and Tetris, the 2006 mobile version, apparently, published by EA, is in third place with around 100 million sales. Tetris, as a whole, however, has sold around 520 million copies, which is yeah, pretty massive. And Mario, as a whole, has sold over 800 million. But yeah, from what I can tell, Minecraft is the #1 best-selling individual game. Helen Chang, head of Mojang Studios, said, quote, "As we approach the 15th anniversary, Minecraft remains one of the best-selling games of all time, with over 300 million copies sold, a milestone no one could have dreamed of when we were all placing our first blocks." And in a recent blog post, Mojang shared an infographic going over the average day in Minecraft, and these are the metrics given. So 915 kilometers traveled on piggyback, 400,000 wolves tamed, 15 million pickaxes crafted, 6.7 million diamonds discovered, 15 million skeletons slain, 700,000 cakes made, and 0 smiles by a creeper. Minecraft originally released in early access in May of 2009. I didn't realize it was that long ago, with the full release version coming in November of 2011, and was originally developed with Java by Marcus Notch Persson. Mojang was then bought by Microsoft in 2014 for $2.5 billion. Shortly following the purchase, however, Notch left the studio. I have played a fair bit of Minecraft over the years. I didn't play it back in the early access phase, but quite a bit later, I think. I can't remember when exactly. I mostly played it on PC with some time on PS4, but not a lot. But yeah, I do really enjoy Minecraft. Recently ran a private server via Minecraft Realms and played with a friend of mine. But yeah, it's one of those games for me that I get back into every now and then, and just play a ton of it. It's kind of timeless. Really great game. And yeah, I guess in the future I could definitely end up using it for footage, actually, as background footage. When probably next time I give it a go for a bit, I'll play a bit of a play with it. Yeah, I feel it's a really great game for that sort of thing. And now for some more rumored, this time rumored acquisition news. The story is actually something that broke last week, but I didn't notice it at the time. I thought I may as well still cover it, as it's quite interesting and quite wild if true. Apparently, Bob Iger, CEO of Disney, is being advised to acquire a game publisher, with EA potentially being in Disney's crosshair. I read this via Eurogamer, but this was originally reported by Bloomberg. According to the report, Iger's deputies at Disney are trying to push the company to purchase a large game publisher, and they are eager for Iger to, quote, consider a bolder, transformation of Disney from gaming licensee to gaming giant. And yeah, the EA being the prime target and being specifically cited by Bloomberg from what I could tell. But according to the article, Bob Iger isn't ready to commit such purchase. This means we'll likely not see anything on this front soon. But yeah, wouldn't be too surprised if this did happen someday, although it would be a huge acquisition as EA have been a massive publisher for decades at this point. I believe Activision Blizzard is a bigger company, but EA is still a giant in the gaming industry, especially with all their annualized sports titles. One interesting thing to note, as covered in the Eurogamer article, is that EA Studios currently have licensing agreements with Marvel and thus Disney to develop 3 Marvel games. Previously, EA also had a deal with Disney directly to create and publish Star Wars games, but I believe that has ended. As you can tell by Ubisoft, I believe, are working on a Star Wars game. But yeah, if we hear any more about this, I'll likely cover it in the future, as it would be pretty big news. Next up, some Battlefield news, specifically for Battlefield 2042. After a terrible launch, it looks like DICE are finally turning the game around. But yeah, when the game did launch, I remember watching reviews for it, and it seemed really bad. And Steam reviews for it were pretty bad as well, and just the general reception of the game was quite bad. It was full of bugs, missing features like a scoreboard, and KD ratio, stuff like that, and proper customization, I heard, as well as overpowered hovercrafts of sort of wrecking people. I noticed that in a bunch of videos. And yeah, I'm a fan of Battlefield games. The last one I played a lot of, however, was Battlefield 1. I did play a bit of Battlefield 5, and both those older games still have decent sized player bases, actually. At points, they've even had more players than the latest game, 2042. I think Battlefield 1 is probably my favourite of the Battlefield games. But the more recent ones in my top sort of favourite between probably Battlefield 1, Battlefield 4. So I did quite like Bad Company 2 back in the day. But yeah, sadly, Battlefield 5 and 2042 both launched very poorly. And yeah, as I mentioned, played a fair bit of Battlefield 4, but haven't done so in quite a while. I believe the player count for that game is still quite decent size, still playable online. And actually, going even further back, the first Battlefield game I remember playing was Battlefield Vietnam on the old family PC back in the 2000s. I really liked that game from what I can remember. Didn't really know too much what I was doing back then, but yeah, I enjoyed it. And yeah, as I also mentioned, and I think with a lot of people, Bad Company 1 and 2, think they're great games. They're mostly just stuck to the multiplayer for both of those games. Did play a bit of the campaign, but mostly multiplayer. And I think the second Bad Company is actually still playable online too. But yeah, anyway, I digress back to Battlefield 2042. So after the game's rough launch and a dwindling player count, the game is actually regaining some steam on Steam. Following a number of recent updates and a free weekend, the game has reached almost the same numbers as it had on launch, with around 102,000 players on Steam during a recent peak. For context, at the launch of the game, it peaked around 105,000 players. But yeah, I genuinely thought DICE had sort of given up and we're going to move on to the next Battlefield game, or maybe something else. It's good to see a developer not just give up when sort of the going gets tough. The rocky launch was entirely DICE's fault, however, but at least they haven't abandoned 2042. Yeah, the game still has a mixed rating on Steam, with 56% of recent reviews being positive, which still isn't great, but it's better than the all reviews rating, which stands at 41%. So you can tell the most recent updates seemingly are quite good to improve the score. And yeah, anything else they're doing, I guess if DICE keeps this up, maybe 2042 will be fully turned around. I do hope so, as I would like to give 2042 a go someday. As I'm a Battlefield fan, I just haven't been into the more recent ones. But yeah, that launch did, the launch did really put me off the game, though. That's why, one of the reasons I didn't get it on launch. So yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see if DICE can fully resurrect the game. At least, at least this is a good sign. And just to add, Battlefield 2042 is on sale on Steam with a discount of 84% off for the base game, with the Elite Edition also discounted, but only 67% off. And yeah, it is also discounted on Xbox and PlayStation Store. And now on to another story, another week, and another piece, news piece on layoffs. This week, Frontier Development, who are a UK-based developer that make a number of games, has announced coming layoffs as well as spending cuts. Frontier has also said that they will be conducting an organizational review. This review will result in a recruitment freeze, spending cuts, and redundancies subject to consultation. The review should be finalized by early 2024, Frontier said. Yeah, I have to say this was a bit pretty unexpected to me, as Frontier make a bunch of successful games, including F1 Manager, Elite Dangerous, Planet Coaster, Planet Zoo, the Jurassic World Evolution games, and some older games like Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, and even Zoo Tycoon 2013. Not the classic Zoo Tycoon, though. That's one of my favorite games ever, but that was made by Blue Fang Games. So yeah, they have a pretty significant collection of games under their belt. I'm a bit surprised to hear that they are having difficulties. I guess bigger game companies have also had financial problems the past year or so. Maybe I shouldn't be so surprised. Frontier haven't confirmed numbers, but I suppose we'll find more out early next year. One major additional piece to this is that back in January of this year, the game company's share price, Frontier's share price, dropped by around 40%. And I'm no financial analyst, but I believe that to be a lot. Yeah, it's not nice to hear any of this, especially as Frontier always seem to make really good games to me. Hopefully those affected will land on their feet. I will likely cover this again in the future once we get more info. Now for some PlayStation news. I believe I touched on this in a previous gaming news video briefly, maybe just the announcement that it was going to happen. But anyway, cloud streaming of select PS5 games is coming to PlayStation Plus premium subscribers. This feature will come to Japan first on October 17th, so it's already out there, I guess. Then to Europe on October 23rd, and finally to North America, so USA, Canada, Mexico, I assume, on October 30th. The PS5 game cloud streaming will be available to those who have the highest tier of the three PS Plus subscription tiers. And as I covered a few weeks back, these prices have gone up. Go by the Game Informer article and the PlayStation blog. The games available when the service launches are Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, Horizon Forbidden West, Ghost of Tsushima, Mortal Kombat 11, and Saints Row 4. There are a number of other games, although they are available on PS4 too, as are some of the aforementioned games. I don't have a PS Plus or a PS5, but it would be cool if they added Demon Souls Remake and Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. They may be available among others, but yeah, along with other PS5 exclusive games. But the PlayStation blog didn't say any other PS5 games. I would think there would be more, but I don't know. Sony slash PlayStation said that the games will output at 4K 60 FPS. This will be dependent on your internet connection, and we'll have DualSense and Tempest 3D audio support. So if you're into cloud streaming games, mainly on your PlayStation console, then this might be of interest to you. I would like to know the entire list of PS5 games, though it looks like we'll have to wait until the PS5 cloud streaming service launches over the next week or so. And yeah, I'm pretty sure you can get PS Plus cloud streaming on PC. Oh yeah, I was considering trying it at one point. If they did add PS5 games, I might just give it a go. And yeah, just see how it sort of compares to Microsoft's xCloud cloud gaming service, which I have used a few times. But yeah, I would be more interested if they put more sort of PS5 exclusives like Demon Souls that were available for cloud stream via PC or Gran Turismo 7, something along those lines. Guess we will just have to wait and see. I'll probably check back on that. I probably won't cover it in a video, but I'm just checking myself. Now, before I move on to the upcoming game section, I will cover the reception for some recently released games. And first up is Skull Island, Rise of Kong. I covered this game when it was announced a few months back, and it received a pretty bad reception, with it being compared to this year's Gollum game. And yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this. It looks like Skull Island Rise of Kong is worse than Gollum. That's right, yeah, worse than Gollum. Before I get into metrics, I will say there are a bunch of videos being shared on social media, X and the likes, and YouTube of this game, and it actually does seem worse than Gollum. The game looks genuinely terrible. I'm not sure how much worse it is than Gollum, but it does seem to be worse. I'm just shocked that the developers and publishers thought this was okay to release, and to release it at a $40 price point is wild. As for review metrics, all I have is Steam. It doesn't look like anyone has reviewed it on Metacritic yet, critics or user-wise. Though I will add a screenshot if reviews pop up there. But yeah, anyway, for Steam, the game is doing abysmally, reviews-wise and seemingly sales-wise. On Steam, Rise of Kong has a mostly negative rating, with 31% of reviews being positive when I checked. And I did actually check a few reviews, and the ones recommending the game are mostly meme slash joke reviews. You know, the the ones on Steam. So I guess they aren't actually recommending the game, but you can decide how to look at that. Without those meme reviews, I suspect the game would fall below 30%. For comparison, Gollum also has a mostly negative rating on Steam, with 36% of reviews being positive, so it's actually higher than Rise of Kong. But yeah, let's compare this to Rise of Kong to Gollum some more. Gollum peaked at almost 760 players around launch, so pretty poor, but for a game of that sort of scale with the Lord of the Rings backing. While Rise of Kong actually has peaked at an apocalyptic 22. Yeah, 22. That is truly awful. So Gollum peaked at approximately 34 times the peak player count as Rise of Kong so far. But yeah, this is also shown in the reviews. There are only 19 reviews so far for Rise of Kong on Steam. I don't know, Gollum has been out for a few months, but still 19 reviews is quite low. I keep checking back and it's still just at 19. But yeah, it looks like Gollum was a sales flop, considerably worse than even. Yeah, Rise of Kong was a sales flop, considerably worse than even Gollum, by the looks of it. Interestingly, the game is also on sale already with a 20% discount, although I think this discount was there on launch anyway. But yeah, I cannot believe this is now the #1 contender for worst game of the year. I really did think it would at least be better than Gollum. And yeah, the PS2 era, 360, PS2 360 era Peter Jackson King Kong game is yeah, it seems to be astronomically better than Rise of Kong. That 2005 game is still amazing. I played for it a few months back on 360, and yeah, it holds up so well, like really well. Yeah, someone should really remake slash remaster the 2005 game, or create a new game based on that one, instead of putting dev time into a game like Rise of Kong. And yeah, I guess Rise of Kong being this bad wasn't entirely unexpected, but I did think it might have been better than Gollum. But yeah, I'm still a bit shocked how bad it actually is, and yeah, and how badly it's been received. Now on to a game that is doing better than Rise of Kong. That's Lords of the Fallen, the 2023. I have not played it. I plan to play it someday. No idea when that will be, to be honest, but I do want to play it. But yeah, anyway, the game seems to be doing fine. Not amazing, certainly not bad from what I can tell, though. I did watch a review for the game on SkillUp's channel by Austin. The review, and yeah, the review was pretty mixed, I'd say. I'll get into the scores now, and first up is Metacritic. At the time of checking, the game had a Metascore of 76, which was based on 50 critic reviews, and it had a user score of 7.2, based on 394 user reviews. On Steam, the game is being reviewed less favorably compared to Metacritic, and has a mixed rating, with 55% of all reviews being positive. This is based on around 9,000 reviews. It does seem the game is generally fine, but a bit maybe underwhelming. That's the sort of vibe I'm getting. I still want to play it, however, as I do like the look of it. Just for comparison, Lies of P, another Souls-like that released about a month ago, is doing very well with 89% very positive rating on Steam. I guess if you're looking to get into a new Souls-like game and you had to pick between the two, I guess go with Lies of P, but do consider I haven't played either of them yet. Yes, it's probably best that you check reviews for both before you make a decision. Lies of P is also on Game Pass, so you could try out there for cheaper. So that's the two games reception I want to cover. Rise of Skull Island, Rise of Kong, doing pretty terribly, potentially worst game of the year, and Lords of the Fallen, which is doing okay, I guess. But yeah, now on to the upcoming game section. There's a few games covered this week, including some fairly big launches and a couple I'm quite interested in. First up today is a game I'm very interested in, as I played a decent amount of the first game and really loved it. The game is Cities Skylines 2, the sequel to Cities Skylines, a great game. Ever since EA gave up on SimCity, Cities Skylines has taken its place, and it really is a great game series so far. As you probably guess, these games are city builders akin to the older SimCity games. The first game was very in depth and had a lot of content. It really is a great city builder. I haven't played it in a couple of years, though when I was playing it more frequently, yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's a good game. And the sequel, Skylines 2, as you like to expect, is going to be quite similar gameplay wise, as it's a city builder, but with a much bigger scope than the first game. Covered a little while ago in another gaming news video that the buildable map space, as well as population density and graphics, will be increased and improved on. So far, Skylines 2 is looking really good and seems to be a big overhaul to the first game. The buildable map area was quite decent size in the first game and could be expanded with mods. But having the base game now starting with a much bigger map is, yeah, pretty great. I suspect mods will expand it even further for those who want a gigantic space to build. And yeah, due to these increases in scope, I suspect that the game will be very demanding, especially at higher settings and city sizes. As with the first game, you may need a high-end PC to construct like huge cities. As the game gets pretty resource intensive, the more your city grows. I did originally find the first game to take a little while to get used to, as there are a lot of mechanics you need to learn in these games, but it's not too daunting, I would say. As your city grows, though, you will need to work harder to meet your citizens' needs, and this may include you building more complex infrastructure, transport, facilities slash services, amenities, and so on. But yeah, that is all part of the enjoyment of these type of games, as well as working out how to best optimize your city. And like the first game, I suspect this one will be heavily moddable. The first game is fine without mods, but you can expand. Yeah, mods can expand the gameplay quite a lot. But yeah, definitely plan to pick this up at some point, as I love the first game. Definitely check it out. Skylines 1 it is quite often goes on sale. Anyway, yeah, I am looking forward to eventually playing Skylines 2. I really hope it lives up to the first game, and hopefully it releases well. Cities Skylines 2 is releasing on the 24th of October and is coming to the PC, Xbox Series X and S, and the PS5. I, yeah, really am interested to see how this ends up on release, and I might cover its reception in an upcoming video. Hopefully it has a good launch. It is available on Game Pass, which I'm kind of surprised about. I only noticed that sort of last minute when I was researching the game again. So yeah, you could pick it, just get it via Game Pass, I guess. And yeah, just in addition to this bit, Paradox Interactives have said that players may experience performance issues on launch. So that's coming from Paradox directly. So yeah, the game could end up having some issues, which isn't great, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see how bad they actually are. The second game today, well, I guess games, is Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1. This is a collection of the older Metal Gear slash Metal Gear Solid games. Included in this collection, I believe, are Metal Gear 1987, Snake's Revenge, Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, and Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. I think that's everything in regard to actual games, but I could be wrong. You also get digital books and similar bonus content pieces as well, if you're interested in that. I believe that the Sons of Liberty and Snake Eater versions in this collection are based on the Metal Gear Solid HD collection versions. So they are ports for the PC, I think, as well as for modern consoles. The older games are simply ports directly to modern platforms instead of being based off of previous collection versions. And yeah, I haven't played many of the Metal Gear games. I vaguely remember playing Snake Eater back on the PS2, but I never owned it. I think I must have played at a friend's house or something. And the only one I've played a good amount of was Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, which is the most recent game, I believe. And that was actually earlier this year. Yeah, quite early in the year. I didn't finish that game, but I did enjoy it, actually. Yeah, not sure why I didn't push my way through it, but yeah, I remember yeah, it wasn't that long ago, so I do remember really liking it. But yeah, I guess there's Not too much to say about this release, as it's essentially the older classic Metal Gear games packaged into a collection that allows you to play them on modern platforms, at least more conveniently anyway. We'll say that some people have been reporting, have said that these versions are locked to the resolution frame rates on of their original versions, console versions, which yeah isn't great. And the fact that Konami didn't update these games to feature mouse and keyboard support on PC just baffles me. But yeah, anyway, I would imagine that if you're a fan of the Metal Gear franchise, then you might be wanting to pick this up, as it includes the classic PS2 era titles as well as the older ones, which I believe were all well received. Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1 is releasing on the 24th of October and is coming to the PC, current gen Xbox consoles, PS5 and 4, and the Nintendo Switch. And just to add, a remake of Snake Eater called Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is currently in development, but as far as I can tell, it has no confirmed release date yet. Next, we have another game that I've covered before, and that game is the Lord of the Rings Return to Moria. This game is a survival crafting game set in the Middle Earth slash Lord of the Rings universe, as you might expect, and takes place in the Mines of Moria. As mentioned, the game takes place in Mines of Moria. If you're a Lord of the Rings fan like me, then you probably know what this place is. Also known as Khazad-dûm. These mines were once home to many dwarves, but following the release of Durin's Bane, a Balrog, the dwarves had to flee, and thus Moria eventually became a goblin and orc stronghold. And following the events of Lord of the Rings, however, the dwarves are back to attempt to retake and recolonize Moria, as is the setting for the game. In the game, you control a dwarf character, and like other games in this genre, you will be resource gathering, crafting items, tools, weapons, etc., as well as hunt for food and combat creatures. There's also base building, a staple of these type of games. The game also actually features procedural generated environments and terrain. The game can be played solo or online with up to 8 players able to come together in online co-op. I guess similar to some other games, survival games like Age of Conan, which sorry, not Age of Conan. I don't know why I was thinking Age of Conan. Conan Exiles, which can be played solo or with others, and yeah, works well either way. From what I've seen, Return to Moria looks quite cool. I'm looking forward to seeing how it is received. Hopefully, it ends up being a good survival game or just a good game in general. Although, yeah, you never know these days. It's best wait and see. Let's just hope we don't have another Golem on our hands or a Rise of Kong. It doesn't look anywhere near as bad as those games, I will say. The Lord of the Rings Return to Moria is releasing on the 24th of October and is coming to PC via the Epic Game Store. I would have liked it to have released on Steam at the same time. I'm guessing it will eventually. It's probably just a 12-month exclusivity deal. But yeah, it's also coming to Xbox Series X and S, and apparently PS5. However, the release date for consoles is both Xbox and PlayStation wise is looking like sometime in Q1 or 2 of next year. So yeah, console users will have to wait for a bit before they can play it. Next up, we have Ghost Runner 2. This is the sequel, as you might have guessed, to Ghost Runner, which released in October of 2020. Both games are fast-paced, first-person action slasher games set in a post-apocalyptic cyberpunk world. I haven't played the first game, but it is very highly reviewed, actually. On Steam, it has a very positive review rating, with 92% of all reviews being positive. This is out of around 39,500 reviews. And yeah, I'd say that is quite impressive. If Ghost Runner 2 can improve on the first game, then I expect it to do just as well critically. Graphically, both games look quite nice, and the cyberpunk aesthetic I feel is done quite well in both games. You can probably imagine what a game looks like when it's based in the cyberpunk world. And this is no different really, but does have its own unique look. Gameplay wise, as mentioned, Ghost Runner 2 is full of fast paced action with melee focused combat from at least from what I can tell. And it seems that you mostly use a katana like sword throughout. However, there were some range combat I saw, like using a shuriken. Combat, it does look pretty good, and has you using your character's agility to defeat your foes. There's also a story, boss fights, and skills to improve. The description notes become the ultimate cyber ninja and prepare for epic boss fights, improved skills, an interactive story, new game modes, and captivating synthwave soundtrack. Yeah, as with a lot of these cyberpunk esque games, there is also a fitting soundtrack, so that's good. It also says in the description that the game's player progression has been completely redone, which will allow for more gameplay variation. It also showed some gameplay on a futuristic motorbike, so maybe there are some high speed chases or driving combat sections. But yeah, Ghost Runners 2 is releasing on the 26th of September and is coming to the PC as well as current gen consoles, so Xbox Series X and S and PS5. There are also demos for this game, and the original one also has a demo on I believe, all platforms. But yeah, I might have to give them both a go at some point. They do, yeah, they look quite good games. And the final game for today is Alan Wake 2. This is a direct sequel to Alan Wake, which was released back in 2010, actually. I didn't realize it was that long ago. Alan Wake 2 is described as a survival horror game as opposed to an action-adventure game like the first game. I believe the first game did have horror and psychological elements, but Alan Wake 2 seems to go much more into the horror direction. Going by the footage I've seen, it does look darker than the first game. I haven't played the first game, but I've heard good things about it. I will say though, I'm not really into this type of horror game. The psychological horror kind, where you can't tell what is real or not. I'm not saying they're bad games, and I see why people enjoy them. I've just never been into them. Alan Wake 2 is also set 13 years after the first game, so it looks like a direct continuation of the original story. And yeah, has more of the same Twin Peaks vibes or big horror in small town sort of feel to it. And I believe Remedy was influenced by Twin Peaks when developing the first game. In Alan Wake 2, you can either play as the eponymous Alan Wake or Saga Anderson, an FBI agent, in two separate single player stories. These stories can be played in any order the player chooses, apparently. Not 100% sure how that works, but yeah, that's what they are describing. Gameplay, similar to the first game, has you using a flashlight in combination with a gun to defeat enemies. You use the flashlight to weaken them, then finish them off with the gun, or at least that's how I think it works in game. The game also features a dialogue tree system, something the first game lacked. So, given that, I would imagine this game's story will be more prominent and maybe more sort of malleable, with player choice mattering more. Another interesting thing is that in Alan Wake 2, there are detective elements to the game. And when playing as Saga, you can pause the game and enter an enemy-free area called the quote mind place. I'm not sure if Alan Wake 1 had anything similar with detective elements, but yeah, this game does. But yeah, in this mind place, described by Remedy as a quote 3D menu, area, players can manage a pinboard. This can be used to gather clues and to work on the game's main mystery. Yes, sounds kind of cool. This game does have, yeah, it does have me more intrigued than the first game did. Alan Wake 2 is releasing on the 27th of October and is coming to the PC as well as the Xbox Series X and S and the PS5. And actually, before I move on, I did want to quickly cover Dave the Diver. This game had released for PC already, but is now coming to the Nintendo Switch. Dave the Diver is an exceedingly well-reviewed game, so it's good to see it coming to more platforms. And the Switch seems like a great platform for it to release on. It is releasing on the Switch on the 26th of this month, so October 26th of October 2023. And there is also a demo available for the game on Switch. Just an additional piece of news I actually noticed while I was recording this. As I reported on before, Diablo 4 is coming to Steam. It's now available on Steam. And it actually has a discount of 25% until October the 24th. And it has a mixed rating on Steam, with 53% of reviews being positive. I expect the rating to be lower, I have to say, so it's not quite doing as bad as I had originally thought. But yeah, just thought I'd add that little bit in here as a sort of update on Diablo 4 on Steam. Yeah, I don't think I'll be picking it up via Steam, but or at all in the foreseeable future, as I sort of mentioned earlier. I might just wait for it to come on Game Pass. But yeah, if you're interested, it is on Steam and on sale until the 24th. Before I wrap this video up, I will do a quick spotlight section. This week is another YouTube video as well as a Game Rant article. These are both related to a Kickstarter for a remaster of a classic PS1 era game, Hogs of War. Hogs of War Lardcore is the name of the remaster and the associated YouTube channel. The Kickstarter for the project is looking to raise £150,000 for the development of the remaster. a PS5 and PS4 remaster version is what they're aiming for to start off with a PC port, multiplayer features, new game options, among other things, being stretch goals. I actually remember playing Hogs of War as a kid, vaguely, but I think I only had a demo for it. The game is quite the cult classic these days and still has a decent sized community surrounding it. But yeah, I'd really like to see this game being remastered for modern consoles and PC. The original PC version of the game is available on Steam, but it has a mixed rating, so I assume it's not a good version slash port. Anyway, I will link the YouTube video and the Game Rant article in the Spotlight section of the description. I will also link the Kickstarter, which runs from the 17th of October until the 16th of November. So that's all the game coverage from me today. I will be publishing a tech news video tomorrow, so check back for that if you're interested. As always, feedback is appreciated, so go ahead and like and leave a comment. Yeah, if you enjoy my videos and commentary, also feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back again soon.